Hey everyone, it's Karen from Mayfly Life. Today I'm doing buttonholes actually on my throw pillow envelope pillowcase, and I did this one this morning, and what I'm doing is I'm sewing it by hand. I'm not sewing it on the machine because I don't have, for one, I don't have a buttonhole presser foot to create this, and so I've been watching a lot of videos and tutorials on how to do these things by hand and how to hand sew them. So that's what I'm doing today. Is I'm finishing off my pillowcase for accent pillows for my bedroom guest bedroom makeover, and this is how I did it. Well, I've got my envelope pillow here that I made, my pillowcase that is, and I want to put buttonholes along this edge so that I can sew in some new buttons that I purchased. I got these from a local fabric store in the city, actually, and they're wooden buttons which go beautifully with this particular material. But the thing is that I don't have a buttonhole foot for my sewing machine, and plus two, I thought I'd try something different. I need 3 buttonholes, and what I'm going to do is I've been doing a little bit of research. I'm going to make them by hand. So I literally have to measure out my button, size of my hole, and then what I do is you'll hand stitch around the hole that you've created. So hopefully this will work out. I'm going to give it a go. It's something I've never tried before, but I've been practicing a little bit, but other than that, I haven't actually tried it on any of my projects, so I'm going to try it, see how it works. Okay, so now what I've got is I've taken my pillow itself, the fill, out of the case, and what I've got to do is along this edge you can see that I've actually got, I'd say about 1.5 inch seam allowance here that I'm going to try to do is I'm going to take the length. I'm going to measure out the length, the width of my pillowcase, and I'm going to measure out and evenly distribute the buttons. I was thinking about doing 3, but I think I'm actually going to do 2. Now I've got the buttons. I've located where I want them, and they're about they're 5 inches from the edge on either side, so it gives it a nice nice appearance on the pillow and so forth. And here I've measured out the width of the button so that I can actually cut here and start sewing around the buttonhole that I'm going to be making. Okay, so here I've got my buttonhole is going to be placed along the edge of my pillowcase, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting through all the layers with my scissors. So like I said, I'm just going to fold this over. I'm going to take my scissors and just, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a start cut slight. I don't want to go through too much, so I'm just putting a small hole, And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with it because I don't want to carry the cut where I could risk cutting right through to the bottom of the hem here. So I'm just taking my scissors, giving it a nice good cut, and you're gonna get fraying, so don't think you won't, because you will. And what I'm gonna do is I just gave it a nice little cut. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get started on this, and I'm gonna thread my needle, and we'll get going. Okay, so I've got my thread and my needle, and I'm just gonna slowly get it on and get it through the eye. And what I'm doing is I'm using a complementary color that goes with, so this is a nice beige, and I'm going to be double stringing it so that there's 2 strings, and I'm going to tie a knot. Make it even and tie a knot. There. Now you don't want a long tail because you don't want that showing. And what I will probably, and I will do, is just give it a slight cut. Okay. So I've got my needle and my thread all together and ready to go. Now, what I'm doing here is, like, you're going to get some fraying. So what you want to do, and what I was shown how to do, was you're going to go in between the layers. Now, I usually, people go left to right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the top here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take put my needle in between the layers, and I want to hide that knot within the 2 layers. Okay? So it's coming up on the outside of my pillowcase, as you can see, like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the full length of the slit that I cut, as close as possible, but not too close because you don't want it to catch all the frays, and I'm going to put it through. So basically I'm creating one long stitch. Like so, as you can see. Probably can't because it's going from one end to the other. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip over to the other side. I'm going to skip over to the other side and do the exact same thing. But I want to make sure that I'm not catching the fraying. Okay, that should be good. And I'm going to do the same thing and go to the top and put it down and through. So now I've got 2 lines. I started here, I went down, I went underneath, moved over, and went up. So now what I'm going to do, now that I'm underneath the material, is I want to bring the needle in between the slit, in the slit that is, and just pull it up. So basically you're in between the slits like this, like so. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go underneath and come through the material at the edge. I'm on the edge of the very beginning of the slit, but I'm going to come out where it's long enough that it's not going to catch any of the fraying. And basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to encase this string here that I've got, because it's gonna help line up everything and make sure that you know, you catch and encase the frame. So basically this is what I'm doing. So I've got the needle in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my string where the needle eye is and wrap it around the top of the needle and pull the string through. Pull the thread through. And I'm being very careful not to twist the thread. And what you're doing here, you can see it loops and catches it, and you're going to tighten it and pull it tight on top. Not too tight though. You don't want to do any damage, like break the string or anything. So I'm just going to move over again, very close to where I was the last time. Loop my thread around the needle and pull. And what I'm doing is, like I said, I'm doing it very slowly. I'm not going too crazy because I don't want to create a knot, and I don't want to get anything twisted. But also too, I'm making sure that it covers the hole. So I'll bring my needle again down right beside my last thread, loop it around so it catches, and pull it slow. Doesn't have to be, you're not in a race, and down. So what you're doing is you're locking it at the top where the slit is so that it doesn't fray any further. And I'm going to continue that. And if it's a little bit longer than the last thread, so be it. It's not perfect. That's why it's hand sewing, and it gives you that authentic hand sewn look that you're after. But as you can see, I got a text on my phone. You can see that it's starting to form that covering that'll go all the way around the hole. So you continue to do that, and if you don't like where your placement is of your needle, move it over and just keep on going. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So it's not really difficult. Oops. See? Okay, now I can go back, go around, and see, you know, you can make some mistakes, but you can always correct them. It's not difficult to do. And there I'm tightening it again. So I'm going to continue around until I come to the end. Okay? And that's basically how you make a hand sewn, rather than by machine, buttonhole. And I love doing this because it's actually very relaxing, almost therapeutic in a way. But plus too, you take into consideration too, is that not all, you're not always going to have access to a sewing machine, or like the foot that you get with the sewing machines. Not everybody has them. I didn't. I mean, I don't. Right now I don't. And I didn't think it was necessary to actually go out and just buy one. What was the point when there are other ways of doing this? And by hand sewing, you can do it just as well. So, like I said, I'm going to continue this around and get the rest of this pillow done. Okay, so I'm about ready to do my last stitch. I'm going around the corner here. And basically what I was doing is that when I'm doing corners, I'm pretty much, when I'm going into the corner here, I'm staying in the same spot, but moving where the needle comes out, you know, as I go along. So I'm just going to finish this last stitch. And you can see it is, now I'm pulling it towards me, so now it's all done. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my thread from behind. I'm going to catch some of these threads just to form a knot. Loop it in, catch, and put a knot in it. Just cut it off. And tie a knot. So I'll do 1, and 2, and cut. And I'm done. See? Turned out beautiful. So now I just need to sew the buttons on to the other side, and I am done. Well, I'm finished. I finished my pillow. And it turned out beautifully. I'm so, excuse me, I'm so excited. I actually sewed this myself. And then hand sewed buttonholes. And this is for my guest bedroom. I'm so pleased. So if I can do it, you can do it. Give it a go. Pick up an old skill and give it a try. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.